Okay, let's dive deep into something from the world of soccer that, frankly, demands a closer look. You shared a stack of sources with us, articles, research, notes, about a match that produced an absolutely staggering scoreline.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't just a win. The reports use words like decimation, a one-sided slaughter.
Indeed. We're focusing on the opening match of the FIFA Club World Cup, played on June 16th, 2025. The contest pitted European giant FC Bayern Munich against the champions of the Oceania region, Auckland City FC.
And the number everyone is still talking about, a monumental 10.0 victory for Bayern. Our mission in this deep dive, based on your sources, is to unpack how this level of dominance unfolded, what such an extreme result signifies for both clubs involved, and perhaps most importantly, what it reveals about the broader state and, well, inherent imbalances within global soccer.
Exactly. It's about peeling back the layers beyond that shocking scoreline to understand the tactical realities, the economic disparities, and, the human dynamics at play on such a unique stage.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's begin by setting the stage, looking at the overview and the context that led to such an unforgettable rout.
Right. So the essential facts first, drawing from the match reports. The game took place on June 16th, 2025, kicking off at 00.00 UTC plus 8. It was indeed the very first fixture of the expanded FIFA Club World Cup tournament, held at a neutral venue designed to meet international top-tier standards.
Okay.
The result, confirmed across the sources, was Bayern Munich 10, Auckland City FC 0.
For Bayern Munich, this game carried significant weight beyond just 3 points, if there were points awarded in this format. It was the first official top-tier international competitive match played under their relatively new head coach, Vincent Kompany.
Yes.
Now, Kompany's appointment back in May 2024 raised quite a few eyebrows, didn't it? He had just experienced relegation from the English Premier League with Burnley.
That's a crucial piece of context. The move from a relegated Premier League side to one of Europe's elite clubs was met with considerable skepticism from, well, many corners.
You could say that again.
So for Kompany, this 10.0 victory in the Club World Cup opener was far more than just getting the tournament started with a win. It was a powerful statement.
A real declaration.
Absolutely. It was his first real opportunity on a major international stage, albeit against vastly less resourced opposition, to demonstrate his coaching philosophy, show his tactical ideas could work at this level, and perhaps most critically, begin building that essential trust with a squad of world-class players and a fan base that, demands success.
It's hard to imagine a more emphatic way to silence some of that initial skepticism and set a tone. That kind of dominant result under a new coach immediately shapes the narrative and impacts the expectations for his entire time at Bayern.
Definitely.
And looking at the club's goals for the tournament itself, this victory serves as a clear declaration of intent. They are here as European champions, and this performance, according to the analysis we've seen, showcases their absolute strength and ambition to challenge for the Club World Cup title.
Moving to the other side. For Auckland City FC, the significance of this match is viewed through a different lens, but it's no less profound for them. Simply qualifying for and participating in the FIFA Club World Cup is presented in the sources as a tremendous honor.
It has to be.
They represent the Oceania region, standing as the champions and signifying their leading position within soccer in that part of the world.
And their history in the region is notable. Founded in 2004, they've built a strong legacy with 9 New Zealand Football Championship titles and an impressive 13 Oceania Champions League titles.
13, yeah. That's dominance.
They even have a significant historical achievement in the Club World Cup itself, finishing 3rd in 2014, which remains the best performance by any team from Oceania.
Their regional success is undeniable and speaks to their consistent quality within their competitive environment. And while a 10.0 defeat is a difficult outcome by any measure, the match reports and analysis emphasize that being on the field, competing directly against a team of Bayern Munich's caliber, is an invaluable experience for their players and coaching staff.
Right, like a harsh lesson, but maybe a necessary one.
It's framed as a significant, albeit painful, learning opportunity that exposes them to the absolute highest level of the game.
This match, then, really highlights the broader global context of soccer, doesn't it? The Club World Cup brings together champions from vastly different continental landscapes. You have Bayern representing the pinnacle of European soccer with all its financial and infrastructural advantages.
Right.
And Auckland representing the best Oceania has to offer.
What's striking, based on the information we have, is how this massive 10.0 scoreline serves as more than just a game result. It's a stark revelation of the inherent imbalance in global soccer development.
It really puts it in sharp relief.
It underscores the absolute lead that top European leagues maintain across multiple dimensions, not just in financial power, but also in player development pathways, coaching resources, tactical innovation, and, well, the sheer depth of talent.
So Auckland City, while being a dominant force in their own region, faces the harsh reality check when stepping onto the global stage against a team operating at a completely different level.
Precisely. The analysis suggests this game functions as a touchstone, a tangible measurement of the vast gap that currently exists between these different soccer ecosystems.
A measuring stick, almost.
Yeah, exactly. It highlights the significant challenges for the future growth and development of soccer in regions like Oceania, while also providing perhaps some cold but necessary insights into what will be required to even begin to bridge such a divide over time.
We've set the stage and understood the context. Now, let's get into the match itself. How did this decimation, as the sources describe it, actually unfold minute by minute on the field?
When the whistle blew, the match reports indicate it was an immediate onslaught from Bayern. Company's tactical approach, emphasizing high possession and a relentless high-press strategy, was evident from the very beginning.
No easing into it then.
No, they didn't sit back and wait. They imposed themselves instantly.
They seized control right away.
Absolutely. In the midfield, players like Joshua Kimmich and Jamal Musiala, whose roles are highlighted in the analysis, quickly took command of the game's tempo.
Key players doing key things early.
Exactly. Their precise passing, ability to retain possession under pressure, and excellent reading of the play allowed Bayern to dictate the rhythm of the match, essentially turning the center of the field into, well, a Bayern zone.
And their attack must have been overwhelming from the get-go.
It was. The forward line, including Harry Kane, Leroy Sané, and Michael Olise, is described as posing an immediate and constant threat. Their flexible movement across the front, the ability to interchange positions, and their individual quality in creating breakthroughs down the wings and through the center seem to overwhelm Auckland's defensive structure almost instantly.
And the fullbacks getting involved too.
Oh yeah. Adding another layer of pressure, the wingbacks, Alphonso Davies and Rafael Guerreiro, were aggressively pushing forward, making those signature overlapping runs. This stretched Auckland horizontally and vertically, creating additional passing options and leading to crosses and cutbacks that were, frankly, hard to defend.
Given Bayern's relentless attack, what was Auckland City's defensive strategy supposed to be?
Auckland's approach, as analyzed in the reports, was a pragmatic defensive counterattack strategy, which, makes sense given the opponent's strength.
Sit deep and hope for a break.
Pretty much. They aimed to pack players behind the ball, limit space for Bayern in dangerous areas, and then, upon winning possession, immediately look to hit long passes forward to their quicker players like striker Ryan Kilcawley and wingers Dylan de Vries and Emiliano Tade, hoping to catch Bayern out of position.
But that long pass counter didn't seem to work against Bayern's setup. Did the press just snuff it out?
That's the key point from the analysis. Bayern's high press was incredibly effective at suffocating Auckland's attempts to counter. The moment Auckland won the ball, often deep in their own half, Bayern's players, disciplined in their positioning and pressing triggers, were right there to close down space.
No time to breathe.
Exactly. They were winning the ball back very quickly, often high up the pitch before Auckland could even complete one or two passes to build momentum for a break. The data confirms this, showing possession figures that indicate Bayern had the ball for almost the entirety of that first half. Like, overwhelmingly so.
And once Bayern was regaining the ball so quickly and holding on to it, the goals started to flow rapidly.
We did. The match reports detail a rapid sequence of goals. Harry Kane got the scoring started relatively early, demonstrating his clinical finishing and excellent positioning that the sources highlight. Typical Kane.
Finding space.
Always. From there, it became a cascade. The analysis points to contributions from various Bayern players, those aggressive wingbacks getting into scoring positions, midfielders like Musiala making penetrating runs, and others capitalizing on the constant pressure.
Auckland's defense must have been completely overwhelmed. Just couldn't cope.
The report suggests their defense struggled significantly under the relentless pressure. The sheer volume and speed of Bayern's attack, coupled with their flexible movement, seemed to expose issues with coordination within Auckland's backline and created individual defensive gaps that Bayern's world-class players exploited with ease.
Looking at the disparity in chances created, it must have been huge.
It was immense. The estimated match statistics paint a stark picture. Bayern created a vast number of scoring chances. The reports mention numerous shots on target that the Auckland keeper managed to save, as well as shots hitting the post or crossbar, indicating it could have been an even higher score.
So the keeper was busy despite the scoreline.
Very busy. In complete contrast, Auckland City had almost no shooting opportunities. Their attempted counterattacks were neutralized so effectively that they struggled to even get into positions to test the Bayern keeper. The estimated shot numbers for Auckland are in the very low single digits, potentially even 0 shots on target.
So those estimated halftime stats showing over 80% possession for Bayern and hugely disparate shot counts just confirm the visual dominance described. It wasn't even close.
Absolutely. They quantify the complete control Bayern had over the game's tempo, territory, and scoring opportunities in that first 45 minutes.
Okay, so Bayern goes into halftime with a massive lead. What happened in the second half? Did they ease up? Did Company tell them to take their foot off the gas?
What's fascinating here, and a key point highlighted by the analysis of Company's approach, is that he demanded his team maintain the same high intensity and pressing after halftime, despite the large lead.
Really? Even way ahead.
Yeah. The reports emphasize his focus on maintaining efficiency and tactical discipline regardless of the scoreline.
So it wasn't just about winning. It was about reinforcing the system and the team's mentality.
Yeah.
Making a point.
Exactly. This seems to be a deliberate effort to instill a ruthless edge, as one analysis suggests, which is crucial for building the competitive culture Company wants at Bayern, especially after the previous season's relative struggles domestically.
Building habits.
Precisely. While they likely made substitutions in the second half, which the outline suggests for rotation and giving players minutes the tactical system, whether it remained a 4-2-3-1 or shifted slightly to a 4-2-2-2 variation was maintained. The intensity remained.
And Auckland continued to face the same challenges. No respite.
Unfortunately, yes. The reports indicate that Auckland failed to effectively adjust their defensive setup or find a way to cope with Bayern's continued pressure, which resulted in more goals being conceded throughout the second half.
Their counters still didn't work.
Nope. Their attempts at long-pass counterattacks remained ineffective against a Bayern defense described as very solid, with almost no apparent shortfalls, even with potential substitutions.
With such a lopsided score, I imagine there wasn't much in the way of controversial moments or refereeing decisions, just pure dominance.
No, the one-sided nature of the match meant there were very few contentious calls that might shift momentum or spark debate. The focus remained entirely on Bayern's performance and the unfolding scoreline.
And Bayern simply finished the job, reaching that final 10.0 score.
They did, maintaining control of the game throughout the second half. The reports do acknowledge the professionalism and persistence of the Auckland players, noting they continued to compete despite the clear fatigue and, the demoralizing scoreline, showing respect for the game.
You have to give them credit for that.
Absolutely. While Bayern might have dropped the intensity ever so slightly in the final minutes, maybe just conserving energy, they were still creating chances until the end.
So that message from Company, demanding continued intensity and goal scoring. What does that reveal about his coaching style and intentions, beyond just this one game?
It reinforces the idea that he's not just focused on getting results, but on instilling a specific mindset and tactical approach. The reports suggest this ruthless style is intended to build a strong foundation for the upcoming season, preparing the team for the high-pressure domestic league and Champions League campaigns.
Setting the standard early.
It's about maximizing every opportunity and maintaining tactical discipline, regardless of the situation, which is a key component of the culture he's trying to build at Bayern. It's a message to the squad.
And for Auckland City, despite the painful experience, how do they even process this?
The sources reiterate that even with the 10.0 defeat, reaching the Club World Cup stage as Oceania champions is an achievement in itself. They acknowledge the professionalism of the players and seeing the match through.
Right. Got to focus on the positives, however small.
While it was a difficult and undoubtedly painful experience, it's framed as an incredibly valuable one for their future development, providing unparalleled exposure to the highest level of play and highlighting exactly what areas they need to improve to bridge that immense gap, even within their regional context.
10 goals is a huge number. Let's break down how they were scored. Was it just one player scoring multiple times, like Kane going wild, or was it a variety of goals?
The analysis of the goals makes it clear that the 10 strikes weren't from a single source. They are described as showcasing the richness and versatility of Bayern's tactics and the individual quality present throughout the squad.
A team effort, even in a blowout.
It was truly a scoring symphony, with different players contributing in varied ways.
Harry Kane must have been central to that, though. As their main striker, you'd expect him to be involved.
Absolutely. Kane played a crucial role as a primary goal scorer. The reports highlight his exceptional positioning in the box, always seeming to be in the right place, his clinical finishing, and overall efficiency in front of goal.
Like we saw last season in the Bundesliga.
Exactly. Referencing his prolific 26 Bundesliga goals from the previous season, it seems he carried that form directly into this match. He was responsible for multiple goals himself and was also involved in the build-up for others, dropping deep, linking play.
Jamal Musiala. He's known for creating magic. Did he sprinkle some here?
Oh, definitely. Musiala's contribution is specifically mentioned as being significant, particularly through his agile dribbling and his ability to make penetrating runs into the box. The reports indicate he was both scoring goals himself and providing assists by breaking down Auckland's defense with those weaving runs.
We discussed the aggressive wingbacks earlier, Davies and Guerrero. Did their forward runs directly lead to goals?
They did. The reports re-emphasize the impact of the forward runs and crosses from players like Davies and Guerrero. Their ability to get high up the pitch and deliver quality balls into the penalty area created numerous chances that forwards and midfielders were able to convert.
Stretching that defense thin.
Exactly. This threat from the wide areas was clearly a major factor in dismantling Auckland's defense.
What about other players in the attack and midfield? Were the wingers like Sané involved? Midfielders joining in?
The sources suggest other players, like the wingers Sané, or potentially substitutes like Kingsley Coman or Serge Gnabry, contributed through individual efforts or clever link-up play within the system. They weren't just passengers.
Right.
Additionally, midfielders like Kimmich and Leon Goretzka were threats, not just in controlling possession, but also by making well-timed late runs into the box, or possessing the ability to score from distance. It wasn't just the attackers scoring.
Were set pieces a significant factor in the scoring? Bayern usually looked dangerous from those.
The reports note Bayern's general strength on set pieces, mentioning their height and physical presence in the box as advantages on corners and free kicks. It suggested that some of the goals were indeed scored from these situations, adding another dimension to their attack that Auckland struggled to deal with.
So it wasn't just individual quality running riot, but how they worked together as a unit.
Definitely. The reports emphasize the smooth team play that underpinned many of the goals. Kimmich and Musiala's central control, their ability to read the game and deliver accurate passes, including long passes to switch play or find runners, and their apparent chemistry with the forwards were key components.
And the link-up play.
Yeah, the quick one-touch passing and through balls initiated by the wingbacks also created numerous chances centrally. It was fluid.
Were there common patterns in how the goals were created? Like, were they all cutbacks or?
Based on the descriptions, you can infer patterns like quick 1-2 exchanges around the edge of the box to unlock crowded defenses, combinations starting from wide areas moving centrally, and perfectly weighted through balls splitting Auckland's backline for players to run onto.
A variety of attacks.
Exactly. The analysis highlights that the variety of goal types points to a well-rehearsed and adaptable attacking system, not just one trick.
Let's talk about the goalkeepers for a moment. They must have had drastically different experiences in this game. Polar opposites.
A complete contrast. The reports describe the Bayern keeper, whether it was Manuel Neuer or Sven Ulreich, as having an exceptionally quiet game, almost a spectator at times.
Just watching the show.
Pretty much. Their primary role was likely limited to organizing the defense from the back, handling some routine clearances, and dealing with any extremely rare long balls, maybe a couple of touches.
While the Auckland keeper was under siege from minute one. Just constant bombardment.
Absolutely. The reports state that the Auckland keeper was under immense continuous pressure. They were forced to make multiple saves throughout the match. The analysis notes that despite conceding 10 goals, the keeper's efforts likely prevented the scoreline from being even higher.
Which is hard to imagine.
Right. It underscores the sheer volume and quality of shots they faced. It was a performance of resilience under fire, even though the defense in front of them couldn't stem the tide.
And the suggestion is Bayern could have scored even more. They left some chances out there.
Yes, the reports mention instances of missed chances or incredible saves, which only serves to underscore Bayern's vast attacking potential. They scored 10, but the opportunities created suggest they had the capability for more, further highlighting the gulf between the teams and Auckland's near-complete lack of opportunities at the other end.
So, to summarize the scoring, it was a multi-dimensional attack involving many players and different methods. Kane finishing, Musiala creating, wingbacks supplying, midfielders arriving, set pieces, showcasing both individual talent and system effectiveness.
That's the key takeaway from the analysis. The goals coming from multiple players and various types of buildup indicates that company's system isn't overly reliant on just one star. It uses coordinated action across different positions, making them incredibly difficult for opponents to predict and defend against, and demonstrating the depth and tactical understanding of the squad.
Let's take an even deeper dive into the tactics now. The sources use terms like masterclass for Bayern and describe Auckland's experience as a struggle. What were the specific tactical blueprints going into this?
Based on the analysis provided, Bayern Munich's blueprint under company is described as aggressive and efficient. The primary formations observed were the 4-2-3-1, sometimes shifting fluidly into a 4-2-2-2.
Flexible.
Very. The emphasis in both was on maintaining midfield control and transitioning quickly between defense and attack. Speed and precision.
What about their attacking structure within that? How did they set up to create those chances?
The analysis details a stable attacking structure but with flexible player runs designed to constantly disrupt defensive shape. They created chances through penetrating runs centrally, exploiting space behind defenders with through balls, and overwhelming the defense via wing breakthroughs, utilizing the width provided by those overlapping wingbacks we mentioned.
And the front three.
The reports highlight the forward players Kane, Elise, Sané as having multi-point attack capability, meaning they could threaten from various positions, drift wide, come central, and combine effectively. Very hard to pin down.
And defensively. We talked about the high press.
Right. Defensively, their core approach was that high press. When Auckland had the ball, Bayern's players were positioned high up the pitch, applying immediate pressure to force errors or win the ball back quickly, preferably in Auckland's half, to launch quick attacks. Sustained pressure.
Was their defense itself solid when Auckland did occasionally get forward?
The reports describe Bayern's overall defense as being exceptionally solid, with almost no weaknesses exploited by Auckland. Their physical strength was also noted as a factor in their effectiveness, particularly on set pieces defensively, just very few gaps.
Okay, so a clear integrated system for Bayern executed at a high level. What was Auckland City's plan going into this David versus Goliath encounter? What were they trying to achieve?
Auckland's primary tactic, as identified in the reports, was focused on quick counterattacks. Their intention was to defend deep, absorb pressure, concede possession, and then use long passes forward quickly upon regaining possession.
The classic underdog approach.
Pretty much. The analysis mentions they also attempted a high press in the opponent's half, similar in principle to Bayern, but with the goal of winning the ball back high up to launch immediate counter opportunities, perhaps catch Bayern off guard.
Who were their key players meant to execute this counterattack? Who are they relying on?
The reports point to striker Ryan Kilcawley, known for his scoring efficiency, as the main target man for those long passes. He was the focal point.
The outlet.
Exactly. Wingers Dylan de Vries and Emiliano Tete are mentioned for their speed, flexible movement, and dribbling ability, intended to provide flair and break lines in transition if they got the ball. In central midfield, the pairing of Mario Ilic and Gerard Manuel was tasked with organizing the defense and attempting to launch attacks. Manuel is specifically noted for his accurate long passing range, a crucial element for that counter-attacking strategy.
Trying to bypass the Bayern press with those long balls.
That seems to have been the idea. Defender Adam Mitchell is also highlighted for his speed and ability to cover wide defensive areas, which would be vital against Bayern's potent wing threat.
This is where the comparison gets really insightful. The analysis points out that, on paper, both teams actually shared some core tactical principles. Both aimed for high press and quick transitions or counterattacks. It wasn't entirely different philosophies.
Yes, that's a fascinating point from the analysis. It wasn't a clash of completely opposite styles, but rather a huge difference in the execution of similar ideas.
Oh, okay.
The reports emphasize that the crucial difference lay in Bayern's ability to execute these principles to near perfection. This is directly attributed to the quality of their world-class players and the sophistication and maturity of their established system and training. They just did it better, much better.
While Auckland had the theoretical plan, they couldn't make it happen on the field against that level of opposition.
Exactly. The analysis concludes that while Auckland City had similar tactical ideas, wanting to press high, wanting to counter quickly, the vast gap in individual player ability and overall team cohesion prevented them from executing effectively.
So their press didn't work.
It meant their high press wasn't coordinated or intense enough to trouble Bayern consistently, and their defensive structure, while aiming to be compact, was far more vulnerable under Bayern's relentless pressure due to individual player limitations and coordination issues. The gaps just appeared.
So this match serves as a perfect, if extreme, illustration of the difference in tactical execution between the global elite and regional soccer, like a case study.
It really does. When evaluating execution effectiveness, the reports highlight that Bayern's was almost flawless. Company's ideas, the high press, the quick transition, the multi-point attack were implemented with remarkable efficiency and fluidity, looking like a well-oiled machine.
And Auckland.
In contrast, Auckland's execution was deemed poor. Their counterattack strategy was almost completely suppressed, nullified, and their attempts at a high press failed to pose any consistent threat, overwhelmed by the sheer quality and organization of Bayern's players.
Let's translate the on-field events and tactics into numbers. The data from this match must quantify that chasm we've been discussing. The stats must be brutal.
The match statistics provided in your sources starkly illustrate the immense gap between the two teams. These estimated figures aren't just numbers, they are direct reflections of the on-field dominance.
Starting with possession, the most basic indicator of control. What did that look like?
Absolutely. The estimated possession figures tell the story clearly. Bayern's overwhelming control, estimated at 75–80%, versus Auckland's low share, around 20–25%.
Wow.
This statistic isn't just about having the ball. It signifies Bayern's complete command of the midfield, their ability to retain possession under pressure, and Auckland's fundamental struggle to win the ball back and string passes together. Think about what that means for player fatigue. Auckland's players were almost constantly defending or chasing shadows.
Exhausting. And the shot numbers. That's the direct outcome of possession and penetration. Must be sky high for Bayern.
The disparity here is perhaps the most telling, even beyond the final score. The estimated shot numbers for Bayern are incredibly high, ranging from 30 to 40 attempts. This volume demonstrates their relentless attack and constant pressure around Auckland's goal.
30 to 40 shots.
Yeah. Contrast that with Auckland's estimated shot attempts, very low single digits, perhaps even zero. A huge difference.
And shots on target confirm the offensive quality, not just blasting it.
Exactly. Bayern's estimated shots on target are around 20, indicating high accuracy and conversion rates from their attempts. They weren't just shooting wildly. Auckland's estimated shots on target, near zero, maybe none at all.
0 shots on target.
This number alone highlights that Auckland couldn't even get efforts on frame against Bayern's defense, which aligns with the description of their defense being very solid.
What about passing? Did Bayern just pass it around them?
Pass success rates reinforce Bayern's control. Their estimated rate is very high, around 92%, showing their precision and ability to execute complex passing sequences even under minimal pressure.
And Auckland's passing? Lower, I assume?
Much lower, estimated around 65%, which is partly a consequence of being forced into low percentage long passes as their main outlet due to Bayern's effective press. They couldn't build patiently.
Any other stats that jumped out from the reports? Fouls. Corners.
The foul and corner counts also paint a consistent picture. Auckland likely committed slightly more fouls, estimated around 12 compared to Bayern's 8, which often happens when a team is constantly defending under pressure trying to break up play.
Makes sense.
Bayern earned a very high number of corners, estimated at 15, demonstrating their sustained pressure in and around Auckland's penalty area. Constant threat. Auckland, predictably, had very few, maybe just one. Estimated offsides were low for both teams, 3 for Bayern, 0 for Auckland, suggesting Bayern's movement was well-timed and Auckland wasn't successfully catching them offside.
So these numbers aren't just dry statistics. They are the hard evidence quantifying Bayern's overwhelming dominance and Auckland's struggles to win the ball, create anything offensively, or even get shots on target. It's all there in the data.
Precisely. And the analysis in your sources goes deeper than just the match stats to understand the fundamental reasons behind this gap, looking at non-field data, the stuff off the pitch.
What kind of non-field data are we talking about that helps explain a 10.0 score beyond just the 90 minutes?
We're talking about foundational comparisons, things like the history of the clubs. Bayern founded in 1900 versus Auckland in 2004, a century difference in institutional history, tradition, building resources.
A massive head start.
Huge. The level of the leagues they compete in. Bayern in the Bundesliga, one of Europe's absolute top-tier leagues, versus Auckland in the NZFC, the National League in New Zealand, which is a regional-level competition within Oceania. This difference defines their regular competitive environment and the resources available. It's night and day.
And their success within those environments is vastly different in scope, even if both are dominant regionally.
Exactly. Bayern has won 6 UEFA Champions League titles, the pinnacle of European club soccer, while Auckland has won 13 Oceania Champions League titles, the pinnacle of Oceania club soccer. They are both dominant within their spheres, but the spheres are orders of magnitude apart in terms of global standing and competition level.
Right. Apples and, well, much smaller apples.
Something like that. Their club World Cup history reflects this too. Bayern are 2-time champions. Auckland's best is that notable third place in 2014. Still impressive for them, but different peaks.
And the players themselves are a reflection of these different levels, the talent gap.
Fundamentally, Bayern has global superstars Harry Kane, Jamal Musiala, Manuel Neuer, players recognized and valued worldwide, costing fortunes. Auckland has regional standouts, key players within the New Zealand and Oceania context, but not operating at the same global level. The analysis of tactical style, which we covered, also fits here, with the key difference being execution quality tied to player caliber and system maturity.
And the most stark, non-field data point mentioned, the one that really underlines it all.
The estimated team value. Bayern's squad is valued in the hundreds of millions of euros, placing them firmly among the global soccer elite. Auckland City's value is estimated in the millions of euros, making them regionally elite, but highlighting the incredible financial disparity between the two clubs.
Hundreds of millions versus millions.
Yeah. The analysis presents this value difference as a fundamental, almost inescapable reason for the difference in performance on the field. Money talks, essentially.
This is where we connect the dots to what the sources term the economics of soccer. It's not just about tactics on the day.
Explicitly so. The analysis establishes a clear causal relationship. Bayern's long history, their institutional strength, and their position within the top financial engine of global soccer, the European market, allow them to attract, develop, and retain global top talent. This fuels their massive team value and enables them to build and sustain elite youth systems and infrastructure.
And that financial and historical advantage directly translates into the on-field dominance we saw reflected in the 10-0 score and the stats.
It does. The resources allow them to acquire players capable of executing complex tactics at high speed, leading to the high possession, the volume of high-quality shots, and ultimately, the goals. It funds the coaching, the analysis, the facilities, everything that contributes to that near-perfect execution.
Contrast that with Auckland City's reality.
Auckland City, as a younger club in a league with significantly fewer resources and less global visibility, faces inherent limitations. This restricts their ability to attract top-tier global talent and limits the level of sophisticated tactical development possible within their regular competitive environment. They develop the best within their region, but that region operates on a vastly different economic and competitive scale.
So the statistics from the game aren't just results in isolation. They are a direct, almost inevitable reflection of the underlying economics of soccer, illustrating the powerful link between resource investment and competitive performance at the highest levels.
That's the core insight. The 10.0 score isn't an anomaly in this context. It's presented as a stark, undeniable consequence of the deep structural and economic inequalities that characterize the global soccer landscape today.
Let's hear from the sidelines. What did the coaches have to say after a match like this? Let's start with the winning coach, Vincent Kompany. What was his take?
Drawing from the likely post-match comments summarized in the sources, Kompany would have certainly emphasized praising his players, praising them not just for the win, but specifically for maintaining their focus and executing the tactical plan with high intensity for the full 90 minutes, even with such a commanding lead.
Highlighting professionalism, sticking to the task.
Exactly. Professionalism, attacking efficiency in converting chances, and defensive stability in shutting down the opponent would likely be his key talking points. The sources suggest he would have specifically mentioned the effectiveness of their high press and multi-point attack, and reinforced the importance of midfield control throughout the game as crucial to the result.
And for him personally, it's early validation, right? Proof his methods work here.
It absolutely serves as early proof, publicly and privately, that his tactical system is taking root and can work at Bayern. The analysis notes that despite the extreme score, he would likely have shown respect for Auckland City's sportsmanship in playing the game out to the end. A touch of class.
What about the losing coach from Auckland City? How do you address your team and the media after a 10-point defeat on the world stage? That's got to be tough.
The reports suggest the Auckland coach would have focused on acknowledging the immense effort from his players, acknowledging their courage in stepping onto the field against such a world-class opponent and enduring the full match under relentless pressure, framing it as a learning experience, essentially.
Acknowledging the reality of the situation. the gulf in class.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
The sources indicate he would likely be upfront in admitting Bayern's undeniable superiority, stating that his team gave their best effort, but the skill and resource gap was simply too vast to bridge on the day. No excuses, just reality.
Did he mention their tactics?
He would likely comment on their attempted defensive counterattack strategy and acknowledge its failure in execution against Bayern's high press and organized defense. Ultimately, the analysis frames his likely message as one of motivation, using the harsh lessons from this game to fuel the team's development and improvement for future regional competitions. Trying to find positives.
The sources described Kompany's statement after this match as strategic. What was the thinking there, especially given his background coming from Burnley?
This raises an important point highlighted in the analysis of Kompany's position. His appointment following Burnley's relegation led to significant scrutiny and questions about his suitability for the Bayern job. A lot of pressure.
Definitely.
The Club World Cup, while prestigious, operates perhaps under slightly less immediate global pressure than a Champions League campaign or the intensity of the Bundesliga title race. It's still important, but maybe a different kind of spotlight.
So it was a platform to make a positive early impression, a controlled environment almost.
Yes. The sources describe this victory as a sort of soft landing, or an ideal early scenario to build confidence. It allows him to build confidence internally with the players, showing that his system works and that they can achieve dominant results together.
And externally too, for the fans and media.
Absolutely. It provides a positive headline for skeptical fans and media, helping to alleviate some of that initial pressure. Quiets the doubters, at least for a bit. The argument is that this win is more than just a tactical success or a tournament result. It's a crucial first step for Bayern, as the analysis suggests, to declare a kind of king's return, rebuilding their image as an invincible winner after losing the Bundesliga title the previous season.
Reasserting dominance.
Exactly. This reshaping of the team's psychological image is considered vital for their performance in high-stakes competitions going forward and their global market presence. It's about perception as much as points.
Looking beyond the score and the immediate reactions, what are the broader impacts of this match? How do the waves extend beyond the pitch? What does it mean for the tournament?
Firstly, the immediate impact within the Club World Cup itself. Assuming the tournament format involves goal difference, a 10.0 win provides Bayern with an enormous advantage, significantly strengthening their position for progression to the knockout stages.
A huge boost right out of the gate. And psychologically, it's a warning shot to potential opponents, isn't it?
Absolutely. Exactly. This high morale is presented as a vital component for their competitiveness in domestic and international challenges. It sets a positive tone. For Auckland, the score is undeniably disappointing, but the analysis suggests the players gain invaluable experience simply by being on that pitch. The act of competing against world-class opponents, despite the outcome, serves as powerful motivation.
Something to build on, maybe.
It highlights the standards they need to aspire to and can fuel their determination to work harder in regional competitions to earn future opportunities on this stage. It shows them the mountain they need to climb.
This global stage also has significant brand and commercial implications. Big money involved.
It certainly does. The Club World Cup serves as a global platform for Bayern Munich to showcase its brand, expand its international fan base, and attract commercial partners. A 10.0 win, being such an extreme and viral result, guarantees extensive global media coverage.
Gets people talking worldwide.
Exactly. The analysis highlights this as particularly beneficial in growing soccer markets in Asia and the Americas, helping to consolidate and expand Bayern's global influence and commercial reach. More eyes on the brand. And even in a heavy defeat, Auckland City's presence on this high-profile stage provides exposure they wouldn't otherwise get. The sources note that simply being seen at this level, even if defeated, increases their international visibility.
Puts Oceania soccer on the map a bit more.
Which can be positive for promoting and developing soccer within New Zealand and Oceania. So the result impacts not just the tournament, but the global brand image of both clubs, albeit in very different ways.
Looking ahead, what are the future implications suggested by this match, maybe for transfers or the rest of the season? Does a 10-0 win change anything?
The analysis suggests this victory could subtly influence Bayern's approach in the upcoming transfer windows. Strong individual performances, particularly from players looking to cement their place under the new coach or substitutes getting minutes, might confirm areas of strength.
Or maybe show where depth is good.
Right. While a 10.0 win doesn't typically scream weakness exposed, it provides data on how players perform within Kompany's system against different setups. Strong performances from depth players, for instance, could earn them more opportunities throughout the season, maybe reducing the need for a signing in that spot. For Auckland, the game undeniably exposed the vast talent gap. The reports speculate that this experience might provide impetus to seek higher-level players in the transfer market, particularly to reinforce defense and add more attacking punch and efficiency,
If they can afford it.
in an attempt to improve their international competitiveness for future tournaments. However, the analysis quickly notes that their limited financial resources will likely make significant moves in this area very challenging. That economic reality bites again. Finally, the sources frame Bayern's Club World Cup opener as a crucial practice field and an indicator for company's new tactical system.
A live fire exercise.
Essentially, testing his ideas and player adaptability in a competitive match, even against significantly weaker opposition, is invaluable preparation ahead of the demanding domestic league schedule and the UEFA Champions League. The success in this match provides a solid tactical foundation and builds essential player confidence for what is anticipated to be a season of significant change and high expectations under the new leadership.
And all of this, from the tactical battle to the economic disparities, filters down to the fans and generates immense social media buzz. What was that like after this 10.0 result? Must have blown up online.
The fanfare and social buzz would have been explosive. Bayern Munich fans would be understandably ecstatic. The report suggests they would view this as a massive shot of confidence in company and a highly optimistic sign for the season ahead.
Celebration time.
Social media platforms would be flooded with praise for the team, optimism, and likely viral memes celebrating the extreme scoreline. Just pure joy and hype.
But Auckland fans would likely have a different, perhaps more tempered reaction. Still proud, maybe.
Yes, their reaction would likely involve significant disappointment with the score, but tempered with understanding and support for their team. The reports suggest a sense of pride in the team simply reaching the Club World Cup stage as Oceania champions, mixed with praise for the players' perseverance and effort against overwhelming odds, respect for the effort.
What were the main topics dominating social media? What were people actually talking about?
The 10-point scoreline itself would be the main phenomenon, an outcome that extreme instantly generates widespread amazement and discussion globally. It's just inherently shareable.
Hard to ignore.
Individual player performances, particularly Harry Kane's goal scoring and Jamal Musiala's creative play, would be huge discussion points. Highlights everywhere. The match reports indicate this result would inevitably reignite broader debates about the significant gap between top European soccer and other continents. That whole discussion.
Yeah, the haves and have-nots debate.
Exactly. Vincent Kompany's incredibly strong start, and the anticipation for what he might achieve at Bayern would also be major talking points. Is this the start of something special? The sources note the lack of controversy due to the score meant the focus was purely on the performance and the result. And yes, the professionalism and sportsmanship shown by Auckland's players in seeing the game out would likely earn them respect and praise online, even amidst the memes.
The sources use an interesting term for such an extreme score, calling it a traffic password. Explain that.
That's a very insightful way to put it. An extreme result like 10.0 is inherently shareable and attention-grabbing. It functions as a traffic password, cutting through the noise and spreading rapidly across social media platforms.
Goes viral instantly.
Quickly becoming a viral global topic that attracts eyeballs far beyond regular soccer fans, drawing them into the conversation around the match. People who don't normally watch soccer might see that score and click.
And this phenomenon ties into the increasing entertainmentization of soccer, making it more about spectacle.
Yes, the analysis argues this is a clear reflection of that trend in the social media age. Extreme results, dazzling performances from star players, and the resulting memes, discussions, and easily digestible content become central to fan interaction and the sport's global spread. The match becomes an event that generates viral entertainment, not just a sporting contest.
Which, for the clubs involved, even in defeat for Auckland, is a form of brand promotion. Any publicity is good publicity.
Exactly. For both Bayern and Auckland, this viral attention, sparked by the extreme result, is a form of accelerated brand promotion. It quickly boosts their global exposure and generates significant buzz, reaching audiences that might not typically follow their regular league matches. It puts their names out there on a huge scale.
We've taken a deep dive into your sources about this extraordinary 10.0 soccer match. We've looked at the score's profound significance for both Bayern under their new coach and Auckland as Oceania champions. We've dissected how the game unfolded tactically,
The press, the counters, the execution gap.
revealed what the estimated data tells us about the underlying global disparities, explored what the coaches likely communicated, and discussed the broad waves this result sends out, including the roar on social media.
We've unpacked how this wasn't just an opening game, but a powerful statement win for company and Bayern, a stark, data-backed revelation of global soccer inequality, and a valuable, though undoubtedly painful, learning experience for Auckland City. A lot to take away.
This deep dive into the 10.0 match clearly shows us the immense power of resources, infrastructure, and execution quality at the absolute pinnacle of global soccer. It brings into sharp focus a challenging question for the sport. In a global competition like the Club World Cup, when the economic disparity between continents is this vast, can the beautiful game truly offer a level playing field where results aren't largely predetermined, or are outcomes like this simply an inevitable, quantifiable reflection of the global soccer economy as it stands today?